Good morning, Lagos. Or good afternoon, Lagos, Nigeria, Africa, the whole world. Welcome to day 6 of the Eko Wellness Fair, the virtual Eko Wellness Fair. Thank you so much for joining us again. My name is Oyin Talabi. I'm a wellness coach with True Living Africa, and I'm so glad to be part of this. This is your second time of having me. Yeah. As host, but it's going to be a good one today. I'll just quickly, I hope you've been joining us all week. Yesterday was really mind-blowing with the farm to table session, but we'll talk a bit more about that later on. I'll just quickly run you through the schedule for today, and then we'll go straight into it. So first off, we're starting off with a short film that we had issues showing yesterday. It's Kuboyi, and we have the director who's going to share some of his thoughts with us. And then we're going straight into a breathwork session with Folakunmi Phinero. I need this session. I don't know about you, but I need this session after the morning that I've had. I'll share a little bit about that again later. And then after our session with Folakunmi, we're going to go straight into building resilience with Dr. Joshua Awesome. And then we'll have a cooking demonstration with Zoe Alakija, and then we'll end up with another short film. So without much ado, we're just going to go straight into that. You have me all day, well, for the next hour and a half. And so I'll be sharing little bits about my interesting morning with you. But straight up into Kuboyi now by Geshin Salvador. Thank you.
My name is Kuboyi, and its literal translation is rejected by death. I did not just decide to end my life.
Hey God. Hey, what did he drink now? It's not the same thing we're all drinking.
Hey, guys, see, next time, don't call it like this.
Oh.
You were the one that gave him drink.
The same thing we all drank now. Which bed?
This one. Guys, next time, if I see you hold me.
Oh, just drop. Wait, drop. I'm tired. Drop me first.
Hey, do you think you're on your bed?
Stella, wait till you give and drink.
The same thing we all drank now. With this chicken head.
Guy, leave mine. Where's your key, Jerry?
You are still asking for key. Please, let's go home. Let's go home. He's already fine. He's at home. Let's go. We're still going to ABK and there's coffee. You'll be fine, I beg. Let's go. Let's go, I beg.
Guy, who call you? Make sure you call us when your eye don't clear.
He's so gone.
Let's go.
We'll take your cigarette. Don't go and smoke again. Leave it. Let me. Hey. Take care of yourself, okay?
Just tell her about something.
I don't understand.
Let's go. Coffee. All the way to ABK this night. Take care, baby. You'll be fine.
Better go stay with them.
Oh God. What did he drink now?
No, what did you give and drink?
The same thing we all had though.
Let that guy need a drink again.
Hey God.
Hey, he go shut there, alright. The neighbors will help him.
No, I did not just decide to end my life. My life already ended on this night. The world around me seemed dead. Even my taste bud was dead to food. And when I started to come alive again, for the first time, I remembered to use my phone.
Who you don't forget your phone here?
Are you serious?
See him now. I lie you. See, ATM and wallet there here too.
Now you phone me that.
See, you guys, let's go. Coffee is in a couple hours. I was still going to ABK. Let's go. Because I know people will be thinking of going back to his house and give him. Let's go home. Okay.
But Stella, wait. If we go now, if you don't go back to give him his phone, how is he supposed to use his phone? There is a lockdown. And we can't even send a delivery guy to send it from ABK to give it to him.
What does he need this phone for? Does he want to call me? He knows I'm going to be fine. If it's the two of you, he knows people are going to be fine. So what's the point? He doesn't need the phone. Let's go.
Are you sure?
He does not need it. He'll be fine.
So you are saying that for the whole lockdown, it won't be with his
He'll
phone?
be fine. Let's go. He'll be fine.
It's on you. Now Stella talk.
Yeah, no problem. Let's go. Let's go. I beg. What's inside?
I should know.
He'll be fine. You should focus on his mental state.
Am I the love of your life and you're looking for a girl that you want to decide? Every day be happy. Wake up.
Now what is it? Say something. What happened?
Oh God, they are following me.
Just getting to know that. Oh yeah, what now?
I don't know his password.
What do you need his password for?
So I can check his phone now.
Oh, interesting. No wonder you were like, it's late. Let's go. You see you. God, I catch you.
It's not because I don't trust him and I want to check his phone, because I know all those girls are always sending him messages.
If you want to kill a modern day youth, just take all phones away forever.
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Ah, hello. Hi.
Yeah, no physical interaction for now. Let's talk on the phone. And please get a nose mask.
I am sorry to stop you. Please, excuse, sorry, Ma. Ma, please, please. I need some money. I am out of food. I am hungry, Ma. Hello?
The whole world is on the edge of the world, in fear of this scary uncertainty that COVID-19 has unleashed. You don't need a rich apartment to survive a lockdown. What you need is food. Plenty food. Or the money to buy it. And I don't have any anymore. The lockdown is ending in a few hours, and I'm about to snatch my life back.
Let's kickstart the special program now. The lockdown in Nigeria over the coronavirus pandemic has been extended by another 14 days. And announcing the decision in the broadcast, President Muhammad Buhari said the very difficult decision was taken knowing fully well that it was severely disrupt livelihoods and bring undue hardship. However, he says such sacrifices are needed to limit the spread of COVID-19 in the country and necessary to save lives. Well, according to the president, the objective was and still remains to contain the spread of the coronavirus.
I don't even have the money to buy the drugs now. What a joke on me! My name is Kuboyi, and its literal translation is rejected by death.
Oh wow. What memories that brought up. What memories that brought up. Hello, Geshin. So this is Geshin Salvador. He directed the film. Thank you for joining us, Geshin. Thank you. What a powerful story.
Hello everyone.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you great.
Okay, a brief introduction. My name is Geshin Salvador. I'm a filmmaker and brand strategist. So I'm the writer and director of the movie you just watched, Kuboyi. And
Very,
it's
very
Kuboyi.
nice.
Why is
Kuboyi,
everybody
not
not getting the
Kuboyi.
pronunciation?
Sorry,
Kuboyi,
I don't
Kuboyi,
know.
it's a Yoruba name.
I
And
get it now, Kuboyi.
just like the character said, its literal translation is rejected by death. Kukoyi, Ikukoyi.
Interesting. I've heard the name before, but never actually processed the interpretation of it. So interesting. So I
Yeah.
was I noticed that from the film. But whose story is it? Because he said it's based on true events. Whose story is it?
Well, it's
Well, I guess
combination
it's the
of
story of
events.
Nigerians. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
It
It's
was,
pretty much my story.
and pretty much my story, I have to say, because being locked down it put on a lot of pressure on everybody. So it's pretty much I totally connected with it, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers did. I know, but
Yeah,
what do you think? Just a quick question because we don't have much time, but I want to get your thoughts because this reminded me of me university as well, the beginning part with his friends and all. And so I want to ask you,
okay.
what do you think is the state of the Nigerian youth? How do you think they managed during the lockdown?
Uh, well, let me say from my own perspective, from my own experience, it was hell. It was hell. It was hell in the sense that I experienced part of the Kukori story, and then after the second lockdown, if I had the chance to tell the Kukori story longer than that, after the second phase of the lockdown had been announced, as in the next 2 weeks, I was robbed again,
Oh, wow.
and these were guys, young guys like myself, four of them. And they just told me that they had to survive. That's what they told me. They said they had to survive, and they begged me. In fact, they were courteous. They tied me up, and they were courteous. They felt guilty,
Oh,
and they
wow.
begged me not to survive. So
That's,
I think that is
mhm.
pretty much like, the average Nigerian went through what those guys went through. The average Nigerian youth.
Yeah, I agree. But I guess what this film did for me was that it really brought it to the forefront that, I mean, I personally had not necessarily thought about the youth in that perspective. What were they going through physically? Even though we thought about it, this made it so real for
But do you
me.
know what really got to me? What really got me so depressed and all crazy about the whole lockdown experience wasn't even the robbery. It was the fact that I lost touch with humans.
Yeah.
There was a point in the film when the guy needed food. He was out of food and he tried to talk to someone, the neighbor who he usually interacts with, and the neighbor was so scared
Yeah.
to like, "Oh, please." That was what I experienced full time, and at that time I just started work at the production outfit, and then I had moved to a new environment. So I was just trying to acclimatize to the environment. Then the lockdown happened. And I wanted to talk to people, get help, ask around that where
Isolation.
can I get food, where can I do this? And before you even talk to someone, they're like, no, 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 don't talk to me, move back, move back. Like I felt like an alien. I was like, what's wrong with me? So that really it ate into me more than whatever was happening around. I
Anything
couldn't
else?
talk to anyone. Nobody was talking to anybody. Everywhere was like a
Yeah.
graveyard.
Yeah, I totally understand and I totally agree with you. And thank you for writing this movie. Thank you for shooting this movie and putting it up for the short film contest. I look forward to seeing more of your work and seeing more depiction like this in Nollywood and in films across Africa. Thank you
Yeah,
so much. What a
definitely.
powerful story. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. So, guys, I'm sure that everybody was touched by that. It really told everybody's story. We're going to go into a breathwork session now with Folakunmi Phinero. We definitely need that after the memories that movie brought back for us. Is Folakunmi still around? I know he was backstage with us. Yeah. Hi,
Hi.
Folakunmi. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. Did you see the
Nice.
movie we just showed?
Yeah, I saw it. It was actually very touching, for sure.
Yeah, it was. So
Yeah.
please just take us into a breathwork session that would help release the anxiety that the memories of that film brought back.
Yeah, yeah. So I think first of all, I'll start by giving a brief background about what meditation is about. So it's pretty much just focusing on your breath, and as you do that, you gradually realize that your mind is constantly going crazy. It's constantly thinking of um, I shouldn't have said that yesterday, or what am I going to have for lunch, or that person should have said that to me, and you constantly get lost in these trains of thought, really. And by focusing on your breath, you're basically able to just come back to a central place, and over time you just see that your thoughts really just come out of nothing, and you're able to see them come up and then allow them to just like fizzle away, and you just let them be. And then as you let them be over time, you're able to just enter a space of just calm and silence that is always available, no matter what you're doing, no matter where you are, no matter how noisy it is. And I think that living in Nigeria can be obviously very stressful. So it's useful
Yeah,
to have that ability to always tap in to an inner reservoir of silence and peace and calm. So
very true.
that's sort of a bit of what it's about. I'll lead a short guided meditation, and then I think a lot of what meditation can be about can be discovered in conversation. So I'll transition into answering questions that anyone might have. Um,
Okay, I
so
was wondering what you meant by that.
yeah, no.
Okay,
So I think
question.
it's nice when you have a conversation with somebody. Um, you're able to just be present in that conversation and um, explore any curiosity and concerns that people might have. So I'll leave time for that at the end.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, you when it comes to meditating, there's really no hard and fast rule about how long you should do it for, when you should do it, how you should do it. The only central thing is really just to focus on your breath and to observe what it is that you're experiencing. That is really it. You can do it for 1 minute a day, 2 minutes a day, 3 minutes a day. But as long as you're able to develop that skill, it's a muscle that can develop over time and become stronger and stronger. So I'll start things off. So I typically meditate with my eyes closed, but you can also do it with your eyes open and still just maybe try and look at a plain surface, nothing that is too distracting. So yes, eyes open, eyes closed, sitting in a comfortable position, and just relaxing to begin with, and gently becoming aware of your breath as it comes in and it goes out. It's normally helpful to uh, maybe label the breath. So with the in breath, you silently say in, and then as it comes out, you silently say out in your mind. In, out. in, out. And of course, you notice very quickly that, your mind will just throw something off, anything. Just notice that. Don't push it away. Don't try and resist it. Just notice it and then come back to your breath. In fact, what's helpful to do is just note what it is that comes up. Maybe it's something you have to do later in the day. Just note it and commit to being with your breath now. And you can always get back to it later on. In, out. In, out. Okay. So if your eyes were closed, you can open them up and just be aware of maybe that inner feeling of rest, of peace that you've been able to maybe glimpse slightly. Maybe not. That's also fine. I think it's easy to get discouraged when you don't experience any, bliss or peace or whatever. But I think the key thing with meditation is to just keep going, keep that willingness to constantly begin again. So even as you're practicing itself, you obviously will have things that distract you and take you away from your breath, and then you remember, oh crap, I need to be mindful again. I need to come back to the present moment. And when that happens, the key is to just notice it and just begin again, and constantly begin again, having that willingness, that resilience to constantly say, okay, that was slight sidetrack, and now I'm coming back to my breath. And meeting that moment of being distracted with some self-compassion as well, and you're only a human being. This is what your mind is trained to do. I often like thinking about it like in the same way that our stomach releases enzymes to digest our food. That's the exact same process by which our minds create thoughts about what we're going through, what we've been through, and what we're about to go through. And the key thing is to just recognize that it's an entirely natural process, and meditation is just it's a tool through which we can notice and just observe that process and let it play out without being caught up by whatever happens. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them in the comment section. I'm not really sure how much time I have left, but I guess I'll just keep going until someone cuts me off. So yeah, if you have any questions, feel free. If not, I'll just talk about some other things about meditation that I think people might find useful. Yeah, I'll give you a few minutes. Okay, well, I'll just keep on talking. So I think a question that I get asked a lot is, why meditate? What's the point? Why is it useful? Why does it benefit my life, or how? And I think, it's a very good question, because it's meditation in itself is something that is very counterintuitive. You're just sitting by yourself in silence, not doing anything, just observing. And it's strange to think that something so mundane can actually have a positive impact on your life. And the way it does that is, like I mentioned earlier, about how it allows you to have that space of silence that you can always tap into. But then I think an important thing is also the fact that we're constantly being thrown around by whatever it is that our minds come up with. So if you're not aware of that process of, a thought comes up, it distracts you, next thing you know, you're getting angry over something that someone just said. You're not aware of the automaticity of that. You're just left to be pretty much a slave to whatever comes up in your mind. And what meditation allows you to do is just to see that process, just to see everything as it unfolds. And as you do that, there's a strange freedom that comes with it, because you see it, and then all of a sudden it ceases to have its power that it had over you before. So as you do that over time, you're then able to, break that spell of constantly going from stimulus to response, and you're able to just have a more choice in how you respond to situations instead of just reacting.
Yeah, and in Nigeria we do react a lot. I have a question.
Yeah,
I'll have two.
Okay.
Actually. Okay, so the first one, before you started the session, you had said something about being present in conversations or being present when you're with someone. What does that mean? Because we hear it a lot, but really, what does being present mean?
So it's really just about not being caught up in your thoughts, because your thoughts are really what take you out of this moment right now. Without your thoughts, you're just here now. So when it comes to being in a conversation, it's typically things like thinking about what you're going to say next, as opposed to just listening to the person, or thinking about things to do with yourself. Someone says something, you're not directly listening to them, and you're thinking about, oh, how am I coming across? What am I going to do next? And that, I think, to just answer it directly, I think, being present in a conversation is listening quietly and attentively, and also having a degree of spontaneity as well, to be able to respond to whatever it is the person needs in that moment. If someone is grieving, or if they're going through a difficult time, just being there to listen to them and being attentive to whatever it is that they need, instead of being caught up in your own story or your own
what you're going to say, your own response. Because sometimes you're already thinking of the response before the question has even been completely asked. I have another question for you. I know you're a lawyer, so you're in that intense corporate space. So how do you make time do you meditate during the day at work? And then are you working from home? How do you manage that? How do you make time out do you take meditation breaks from when you're working? How do you do that?
Yeah, so I typically like to get a session in the morning. It might range from somewhere between 10 minutes to 30 or 40 minutes. And that is my main focus session. But then I also think that it's important to meditate throughout the day. So obviously you can't sit down and close your eyes and be in a quiet space throughout the day, but I think you can have like 1 minute just sitting and just counting 10 breaths, something so simple like that. Even though it's so short, it still allows you to just break that spell that your thoughts are having over you. You break that bond, and then you can go back into your day. You have a bit more space and freedom to just carry on. But then also, I think you can meditate while doing anything. I think over time you realize that there's nothing special that you're doing while meditating. You're just focusing on your breath, and as far as I'm aware, you're breathing every moment of the day. So you can do that while you're talking to people, while you're driving, while you're walking, while you're eating, anything. So it's really just cultivating that mindfulness and awareness that can carry you throughout your day. There's some questions in the chat.
I've asked it. Those are the questions.
Okay.
Those are the questions. I'd put them up there. I was pulling it up from, I think it was Facebook or somewhere. But yes, thank you. That was really, I enjoyed that. I actually followed the your guidance. And as you were talking, I was seeing, some reminders as in, oh, you have to do this. Oh, has this happened? And so when you were like, oh, just walk away, I pictured myself turning away from the reminder that, you know what, I'm not dealing with you right now. I'm just going to have this moment.
Yeah. And, that's the thing. It's like, it's not about, being unproductive or just forgetting everything that you have to get done. Like, things do have to get done. But it's about just recognizing that in this moment right now, you are just committing to being present and to being in your breath. You have the rest of your day to be productive and get things done. But for now, it's mindfulness time.
Yeah, that moment, it really does help to calm the nerves and just make it, especially when you're having an interestingly intense day, just taking that moment to focus on your breath. It just shows you, what it does for me is that it helps me realize that it's not that bad. Whatever weight I was feeling, whatever pressure I was feeling, when I breathe and just focus on my breath, I let go of all that tension, and then I say, oh, it's not that bad. And then I can focus on a solution. A solution actually can come. I know. So yeah, totally agree. Thank you so much, Folakunmi. Thank you so much. I met Folakunmi. We met at Social Media Week. I think it was 2-3 years ago. And then we've been connecting in those kind of spaces as well. Nice one.
Yeah,
nice one.
That was...
Thank
Yeah, no, that was lots of fun. I remember that very
it was.
well.
Uyok was with us too. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us today, for making time for us and for sharing yourself and your thoughts on meditation and for taking us through that session. I needed it, and I'm sure some of the people watching also needed it.
Yeah, could I just add something as well? So if I also have a newsletter that focuses on meditation that goes out once a week, and it's called Being Present, and you can find it at beingpresent.substack. So that's substack.com, and it's a short insight each week that you might find useful, and if you do, please share with other people.
So what we'll do with that is if you send me that link, and then we'll include it in the newsletter so that everybody can receive it. So if you want that link, please register on the website so that we can include you in our newsletter so that you can get it by tomorrow morning. Thank you for joining us again, Folakunmi. Nice one.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. So we're going to go on to, I think we're going to have a break. And then we're coming back with Dr. Awesome, Dr. Joshua Awesome. This is also a good session for for us to connect with. Can't wait to see it. Or to connect with Dr. Awesome on this one. I know he's backstage. Hi, technical. What's happening? Is Dr. Awesome coming on straight, or do we go into a break? Ah, he's here. We're going straight into you. And I see we caught you during lunchtime.
No, I'm good.
Oh,
I'm
I
super
thought you
good.
were doing. Ah, nice one.
I am
Thank you
super
for
good.
joining us, Doctor.
Thank you so much for having me. And that was a very interesting, bridge into this.
Yes.
And it's important for us to, take mindful breaks and basically support and self-care.
Yes, it is. I know I have your bio somewhere, but forgive me, I've had an interesting morning. And so I don't have my notes with your bio here. Forgive me for that. Forgive me, viewers. I'm really sorry about that. I'll make sure that it's in our in the newsletter that goes out with the highlights for today. I am so sorry. I apologize for that. But we have you here. Do you mind going straight into it? Dr. Awesome is going to be talking to us about building our resilience. And so we've been through a crazy past couple of months or past couple of years in Nigeria. And building resilience is a very, very important thing. We're always thinking, so first off, we're all going to that mindful space and all that, but resilience is that ability to come back and be able to function. So stress is not a bad thing, and I'm sure he's going to touch on that. It's what you do with the stress, it's how you respond after. That is the challenging part. So I'm going to hand over to Dr. Awesome to teach us, lead us on how we can build our resilience.
All right. Thank you, Onyi, and thank you to everybody out there for joining us. So I'm just going to move into my presentation, which basically would help me to be able to focus on some of the stuff that we will be talking about. So for the benefit of those who do not know me, my name is Joshua Awesome. I was born in Lagos, Nigeria, 45 years ago in a hospital in Lagos Island called St. Nicholas Hospital. It's exciting for me because of the interesting times we live in. Onyi said she couldn't find my profile, but I think I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself. And so my journey is a very interesting one that pretty much started some, 45 years ago. I have been on a journey that has brought me to a place where I think you will enjoy this session. So permit me to go into my very first slide. I pretty much like to say that I started out as a motivational speaker over 23 years ago. And then I transited from doing that into a person who decided to literally do what I will call disrupting himself. And so my whole disruption journey saw me switching from being a public speaker who was doing and talking personal development to transiting into a whole new space that saw me becoming a coaching psychologist. I've been privileged to have been mentored by several persons who are in the space that supports well-being. But beyond that, I'm also grateful that I am today a coaching psychologist, which is where I'm actually chiming in from. So let me begin by expressing my sincere gratitude to the governor of Lagos State, who I am humbled and honored to also have known for over a decade and a half, thereabout. And I'm saying this because as I was listening into the opening welcome address by the commissioners for health and tourism, it was indeed an inspirational packing through that presentation that basically helped us to be able to appreciate the perspective they have about mental health. But aside that, I'd like to also express my sincere gratitude to Oyin Talabi, Oyinkon Talabi, and the entire team out there. If there's anything that I'd like to say is that I'd like you who is listening to me right now to realize that today, the 6th of May, 2021, is irreplaceable. In other words, there will never be another Thursday, 6th of May, 2021, which is why I always like to embrace every new day with what I call a heartfelt gratitude. And it's a combination of the word heart and attitude. I call it heartitude. So I'd like us to start by first asking everyone to please take a moment and think of one thing that you are grateful for today. If you can, please type it in the chat box. While you're busy doing that, I would like to also say that I'm grateful and privileged to be taking you through this journey on what I call route to resilience. I know they want me to talk about resilience, but I renamed it and reacronymed it route to resilience because I've come to realize that there possibly is some very interesting, details about this journey that I believe we can, and when I say we can, I mean every one of us can enjoy some bit of it. So I'm going to ask you while you are busy typing that to do me a favor, okay? At the back of your mind, when you think of the word resilience, what comes to your mind? So I ask you to type it right now. When you think of the word resilience, what comes to your mind? Okay? I'd like you to type it right now in the chat box. When you think of the word resilience, what comes to your mind? Please go ahead and type it in the chat box if you can. And I'm hoping that everybody, who is out there is taking a moment right now to think about one word that basically for them talks to resilience. So go ahead and type it in the chat box now. All right. So I'm going to pause and just ask you to watch this with me. So, and I'm sure you're familiar with the phrase cut soap for me. And it's something that has been making the rounds, in the social media space. But it means different things to different people. And I wanted to use that, and that short video with Governor Sanwo-Olu and basically using it to talk about something very important. That every one of us needs to see ourselves as a channel of good. Okay? So the soap and the cutting of soap for me means giving a hand to help someone up. Okay? So every one of us needs to see ourselves as a channel of good. And in these times that we find ourselves in, resilience for me, my own journey, when I think of my journey, around resilience, I think of how I started over 2 decades plus ago, and wanted to basically do something that was bigger than me, to basically touch, the land of my birth, Nigeria, with something that brought positive light and positive attention, to the nation. And that's why you see on the screen that the photo to the far right actually is a very interesting picture of me at the summit of Kilimanjaro with the Nigerian national flag. And I'm grateful and privileged that I'm the very first Nigerian to ever, successfully summit Kilimanjaro with the Nigerian flag. Now, why am I sharing that? The reason is because as I think about the word resilience, the word capacity is what comes to my mind. Okay, and as I talk about this, I think about my journey back 24 years ago, when I started out in the area of facilitation and motivational speaking and personal development. The one thing that I really and truly wanted to do was to just get opportunities to just speak. But I then found out that for me to become someone that people can, respond to ask to be part of something grand and greater than myself, there was a need to develop the capacity. And the capacity for me became deepening my own well-being, deepening my own resolve, deepening my own inner landscape with the strength to be able to think beyond myself. And there's an interesting story about, my Kilimanjaro climb that highlights something very, very interesting. Over 10,000 to 20,000 persons attempt to climb Kilimanjaro every year. And this was before, COVID. And the shocking thing about that is that not everybody makes it to the summit. But here is the interesting side of it. The journey up the mountain is as important as the summit itself. In other words, when you think resilience and you think capacity, you are thinking the entire gamut of it. So the word capacity, which is, another word to explain what resilience is a combination of 3 words: cap, alphabet A, and city. So it's a combination of cap, the alphabet A, and city. So when you look at it, it means you have a cap of sorts that accentuates you to be able to carry a city in some way. In other words, what is that city that you feel that you are called to? What is that city that you feel that you are carrying, or that inner resolve that you need to give some focus and interest and attention to? Of course, all of us have come to realize that the pandemic has shifted our focus away from just thinking self to being grateful for simple things as a breath. And the gentleman who led us in a breath walk earlier talked to that, and it's quite interesting that he spent some time focusing on that interesting bit. So I'm just going to zoom into something very interesting. And so the photo to the far left is me climbing 3 mountains out of South Africa. And there are 3 mountains in Cape Town. There's one called Devil's Peak, the other is called the Lion's Head, and the third is the Table Mountain. Typically, if you've had any form of educational connection, from undergraduate degree to postgraduate program or a PhD at the University of Cape Town, you are drafted into what is called the 3 Peaks Challenge once in your lifetime. And I had the opportunity to also do that at some point. And that 3 Peaks Challenge was started very early in the morning at around 5:30 a.m. And that climb in itself taught me something very important. Not everybody who started healthy finished in the same state of health. In other words, your journey will take its toll on you. Your journey will help dig deep into that, resolve and that, resilient side of you, helping to build and strengthen your muscles, as it were, your muscle for more capacity. And I wanted to share that because at the end of that, 3 Peaks Challenge, I was excited that even though I wasn't the first, but I was given an award at the end of the climb called the Good Fella Award. Now I'm going to pause and say this to you. Even though I was not the first to finish, I was recognized because of a certain level of resilience, a certain level of capacity. And this is one thing I want everyone who is on this call to listen to. You watching me right now, quit trying to compete with somebody else. Why? Because you are not on a race with anyone. The only person you're actually on a race with is you. In other words, the competition you have today is with yourself. And what is the competition? To be better than you were yesterday, today. Because today is the present. Today is all you have. You don't even know what tomorrow looks like. As a matter of fact, you don't even know what tomorrow will bring. And that's why we need to, be careful how we load ourselves with expectations, because the reality is that there's a way it lands on our body and in our cells that begins to affect our well-being. If you noticed, I've used the word well-being a couple of times. One of the things we all need to begin to do is to pause and think deeper about some of these words. The word well-being is a combination of well and being. So how well is your being, ladies and gentlemen? So I'll just zoom next into something that I'd want us to begin to give attention to. So Onye and the Eko Wellness team have a poll that we have shared with them from my coaching psychology practice. And I'm also a researcher, and I'm privileged as that last year was the co-chair for the Global Academic Research Institute, where I hosted 36 researchers from around the world here in South Africa towards a research conference and certain research findings that will hopefully advance the world from a peace and resilient perspective. And so we've shared a poll with Onye and the team, which I'm hoping will be beneficial to every one of us. And the reason why I'm mentioning it is because on the question number 5, we asked a question about the pandemic. And we rephrased that question and tried to explain that as a world, we have actually moved past the pandemic. Somebody possibly surprised and wondering, what am I saying? I'm not saying COVID is past. I'm not saying COVID-19 is gone. I'm simply saying we have moved past the pandemic. We are right now, according to research, in a syndemic. And I ask you to think about those words, because you see, a pandemic is looking at one global disease. A syndemic is unpacking multiple layers, like a Hydra head kind of situation that emerged and evolved from, COVID-19, and then began to touch layers that affected, the mental health and well-being of people to their whole inner landscape and a whole lot of other stressors. Some of the things we researchers are now picking up is what we now call CSS, which is COVID stress syndrome. I'll begin to wrap up. So I don't know if you've typed in the chat box your one word when you think of resilience. My one word is capacity. And if there's anything that I want you to think about, is that we are right now in a global season where we need to unlearn certain things that we have learned and relearn the right stuff, so we're more resilient as people. Why am I saying that? So yesterday I tweeted that happenstance has a hold. Okay, something happens and it has a hold on you. How does it have a hold on you? Your cells, eavesdrop on your thoughts. But if you recognize that whatever holds you and hurts you, you need to deepen your resilience and your capacity and dig deep and recognize that you can stretch one more time and be more resilient, then you will go past that. And I'm saying this because research is showing us that a lot of people's dragons from their past is now re-emerging in their present. And if not properly dealt with and managed, it could affect their future. And so I ask you to think about the things that are taking your attention and your consciousness. There are a few things that I want us to begin to dig deep on. You need to, focus on deepening what you don't know about yourself, the state of your health. If you don't know how you are feeling, ask for help. This is the best time to begin to, think of understanding, your instincts, understanding who you are, become more self-aware. Because as you are able to appreciate me. As you appreciate me, you are able to then better understand, how to relate with me and connect so that I can easily connect with you. Because many people want to be heard, and it's because of the way things are and the stressors, the external stressors that we don't have control over. We need to deepen our level of resilience so that we are able to hear others, and then we also get heard. I say that because more than ever before, we need to find ourselves getting into more or less a collective healing, as it were. And this is why I have joined, forces with the Eko Wellness, team to be able to add my voice and basically support, this mental health awareness month. And help us to be more aware about our mental health and better begin to heal from the traumas of the past, because the awareness then helps us to be able to come into a place of acceptance, and then we're able to engage in the present, the traumas, and collectively heal. And then we're able to engage and shape the future innovatively and in a creative manner. Right. So I'm going to begin to close by sharing some very interesting insights from my mentor in positive psychology, and Professor Martin Seligman that you see on the screen is the father of positive psychology, and I was privileged to actually study under him, and he's one of those that I have great respect for, and this is Professor Martin Seligman's design around deepening our well-being and hopefully raising our resilience level, and P represents beginning with positive emotions. Okay, so you need to feel what you are feeling. Many times, people are not feeling what they are feeling. Okay? Now, this is very important. Positive emotions are an essential part of our well-being, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? We need to, allow ourselves, and these positive emotions are an essential part of our well-being, and happy, people look back on the past. There's nothing wrong in looking back on the past, with gladness. And even if you don't feel glad about the past, recognize that the need for us to, look back at the past with learnings, okay? And then you can look into the future with hope. And then you can enjoy and cherish the present. Okay, so that's what P represents. The E represents engagement. And that's where you find what we call flow. When we focus on doing the things we truly enjoy and care about, we can begin to engage completely with the present moment and enter what we call a state of being in flow. So as an executive coach and a coaching psychologist, sometimes when I'm working with leaders, to be able to bring the group into what I call a group coherence, and a group coherence, I need to first and foremost help the leader or the executive to better deepen their consciousness about certain things that have happened in their past. Okay, so I ask us to be very aware and conscious of the need to delve into some of this. Because if you don't know, you are in the dark. And that's why, sometimes your emotions or your dragons from the past begins to emerge and pull you into spaces and places that you really don't understand. And so from positive emotions to engagement, that begins to get you into flow state. If you remember earlier, I was talking about, climbing Kilimanjaro. And I did not do it just because I wanted to, be the first. I did it because I wanted to impact the rest. What do I mean by that? A lot of times when you take on an engagement that is taking you into a flow state, what begins to happen is that you are helping others to also flow into that state, because you do not know who is watching you, what is happening in society by your positive engagement and the good that is emerging from within you and around you. And so I ask you to be conscious of the need for us to engage intentionally. Okay, in engaging intentionally, I believe every one of us needs to consciously then transit the positive emotions to engagement into R represents relationships. Now, here's the thing. One of my quotes, and I've said this a couple of times, that it is people that enable people to succeed. I am part of this, for example, because of Oyin and the entire team of Eko Wellness. Even though I've mentioned Oyin's name, there are a lot of others who are in the background who are making what you are seeing on the foreground to become a success. And so it's important when we talk about PERMA from a positive psychology perspective, we move from positive emotions to engagement and then to relationships. So that relationship side is what we call the authentic connection phase. Every one of us needs someone. Okay, there's a popular saying that the Lone Ranger was alone. The reality is that he wasn't alone. He was with his horse, Tonto. In other words, everyone is able to thrive through the help and hand of someone. In other words, We enhance our well-being and share it with others by building strong relationships with the people around us, with family, with friends, with co-workers, with neighbors. Somebody may be thinking, so how have we been able to do this in the pandemic or now the syndemic? We might be at a distance, but we should not be disconnected. Technology has made it possible for me to be able to chime in all the way from, Santon City here in my coaching psychology practice in South Africa to, Lagos for this, Eko Wellness Fair. And who knows, maybe the governor himself is watching right now, Governor Sanwo-Olu. I don't know, but what is important is that through this means we are able to disseminate insight, inspiration, information that is hopefully giving an intuitive inoculation into someone's inner landscape. And I say this as I move to the next, which is meaning. And meaning talks to purposeful existence. We are at our best when we dedicate time to something greater than ourselves. I'm doing this free of charge, not being paid a cent for it. And why am I saying this? I think it's important sometimes to realize that a lot of times these are some of the ways by which we pay our rent on the planet, by doing something good and great for someone else or for the collective. Because to see a better Africa, I am interested in seeing you having a better brain, because it is as you have a better brain that you can have a better life. And when you have a better life, Africa becomes a better space and place. Or let's narrow it down. Lagos becomes a better place and space. Nigeria becomes a better space and place. South Africa becomes a better space and place. And lastly, before we begin to cascade to the A, meaning would also begin to talk to, for those who are of religious faith, where you are able to connect with those who are of your own faith and your belief. And whether you're a Christian or a Muslim, you're able to connect with those people, either physically or via technology. And I've seen several organizations, of religious, interests holding meetings virtually, via Zoom, via webinar apps, but via free calls, but via YouTube. And these are ways by which we're able to then deepen our meaning. And for those who are politicians, you possibly have heard, and one of my favorite, persons in politics, the Vice President of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, who I have personally known for a very long time also. And I say this from a very interesting and a positive space. They have been able to hold meetings virtually using technology when COVID began to require that they create some form of distance, from gathering in the Aso Villa as they usually did in the past. And so to those who are in the charity space, what are you doing that is bringing meaning? I will not tell you what I am doing, but I have supported several, families and individuals and groups and even government with my skills and expertise the last 1 year in a bid to and reach deep within and make meaning a part of, what is happening to others. Because the reality is that what you have is not just for you. When you think beyond yourself, you think of the collective. And that's why I talked about cohesiveness, congruency, where, we are healing collectively and we're also helping each other. So as I begin to close, professionally, I'm part of the American Psychological Association. And I've chimed in virtually to be able to, attend online versions of our, our association meetings. I'm also privileged to sit on what is called the African Board for Coaching, Consulting, and Coaching Psychology. our annual symposium started yesterday. And because I knew I would not be physically there today, even though it's happening here in South Africa, I committed my time to it yesterday. So whatever it is that you do, you are part of, think of the meaning that you can unpack, unfold, and unlock by committing time towards it. And do this in a creative manner that then begins to drive you towards the final bit of the PERMA circle, which is achievement. The reality is that every one of us needs to win sometimes. To achieve well-being and happiness, to deepen our resilience, we must be able to look back on our lives with a sense of accomplishment. To say, I did it, I did well. And so as we begin to close and come to the end of this, I'd like you to think about what you think about when you think about what you think. I would say that again. Think about what you think about when you think about what you think about when you think. Now, it's important that you pause and do some thinking about where you are right now. And ask yourself at the end of every day, what went well today? Since my 45th birthday last month, I have been on a 45-day gratitude challenge. And you're welcome to look for me on the various social media handles. And on Twitter, I am at Awesome Coach. And on Instagram, The Awesome Coach. And I'm saying that because I want you to challenge yourself. Because where you are is not where you were. Where you were is not where you will be. So let's begin to wrap up. And my wrapping up, for me, I would like to leave you with a quote. The depth of one's patience is a reflection of our resilience, which will deepen no other way except through work. So, I have talked about PERMA, positive emotions, that's the P, E, engagement, R, relationships, M, meaning, and A, accomplishment. And I hope this has been insightful for you. I'd like to express my sincere gratitude one more time to the Eko Wellness team, and also express my gratitude to the #1 citizen of Lagos State, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, to also thank, the Commissioner for Health for his, dedication towards this, and my deep smile to the Commissioner of Tourism also. I must say that I enjoyed, your keynote address. It helped me to really feel that we indeed can intersect health and tourism and create what research is now referring to as a polypill. And a polypill is a combination of various medications inside one pill. So if we're going to create a well Lagos and a well Nigeria and a well Africa, we need to be intersecting some of these things to be able to birth the difference that we desire. I thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Awesome. That was awesome. No wonder you're a sought-after speaker. And he is a sought-after speaker. How we managed to get him for this session, I don't know. And I have his bio. So let me read his bio just so that we can flow with that and you can affirm that bio. So Dr. Joshua Awesome is a high-performance consultant. He's the founder of Awesome Impact, which is a leading learning development consultant and accredited facilitator. He's into team building. He's a team building consultant, an executive and mindfulness coach who remains focused on helping people learn, unlearn, relearn, so that they can keep on learning in life. Okay, I have to interject here. Dr. Awesome likes his rhymes. Dr. Awesome is daily driven by a life mission to inspire and inform individuals so that they can get involved in life, and they are governed by their awesome mind. That is just awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Awesome. We shared this already on the social media handle, and we'll also put it in and then all his contact details will also be in the newsletter as well. That was a really inspiring session. And one of the things that you touched on that connects deeply is when you said that we do things not for ourselves, but we can do it for the greater good, for the collective. And that's really what Eko Wellness is about. We're doing it for the collective. We want to make well-being accessible to as many people as possible and to make it personal. So it's tangible. There are tools that you can go ahead and use. You can start implementing immediately. And that's why we've designed the week the way it is. So it's not too much pressure, 1.5 hours per day. And then there are tangible things you can practice. So the breath work, tools that you've shared with us, mindfulness, and just being focused on our present. That's really important, especially when we want to build a new Nigeria. We have to have our minds redesigned, so to speak. And it's interesting that a lot of people that are watching us are within the 18 to 35 age band. I love that because they're the future of Nigeria, and we need to start redesigning that mind. And I love what you said about what you think about what you think. I know, I liked that, as in, it's true, you have to think about what you think, because it helps know that if you're thinking accurately or not. I had a feedback on one of the groups. Somebody wanted to know if you actually run programs that like short workshops and programs that they can connect with.
All right, so let me first thank you, Oyin, and your team. And we've been having a lot of conversations on the background about how we can turn this from a product into a solution.
Yeah.
Because that's where we need to begin to think as Africans. Most times, we're thinking short term because we are not looking and seeing the future, which we need to be featuring as people. But I wanted to also say that I believe strongly that what you have put together this year is a huge catalyst for greater things that can happen in Lagos, Nigeria, and the continent. Yeah. We
agree.
So what I'm hoping will happen is that Governor Fashola, the minister, Governor Sanwo-Olu, we make mistakes, which is good. I love the fact that I made a mistake.
Yeah.
So maybe Governor Fashola made an impact, an indelible one in my mind. Maybe that's why his name came to my head. Yeah. But Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, can then physically accept a report back from this type of engagement. And I'm saying it publicly right now, because this should not just be a tick in the box.
Yeah.
It not just not, an event. So and I said that to say this about, when we should be thinking about what we think about when we think about what we think about. Now, many times, many of us are not thinking about the thoughts that are traveling in our consciousness.
Yeah.
And then they move from seed form to become shrewd. They then become strengthened within us. And then they move from our consciousness to becoming a psychology that then becomes a philosophy that then becomes a lifestyle. So there are many people who are addicts right now to some things who did not think about what was traveling in their consciousness. Seed form. And because of that, not noticing it, you are not aware of the emotions. Okay, some people think that emotions should only be positive. No, you should embrace whatever is emerging.
How do you deal with, sorry to interrupt,
No,
you
please.
said all emotions are good, so but there's always so much emphasis on the emotions are on a spectrum. So there are those high, the more positive vibe ones, or the higher vibration ones, and then there are those lower spectrum emotions as well. And where we get into the anger and to the depression and all that. But on that journey of the spectrum, I agree with you that all emotions are good. But how do we process like what anger is saying to you, what irritation, because they're saying something.
Indeed. So here's what we should understand. Emotions are simply emotions until they begin to take a shape and a form that then advances or retracts suddenly. Then they get a definition. So the question we need to be asking ourselves is, am I doing what can lead towards emotional hygiene? Okay. And the reality is that many of us are not doing that. We get into our offices, the first thing we want to do, we want to sanitize, we want to wash our hands. So we've designed a program around the need for us to not just sanitize our hands, but also do it for our sanity.
How do we get into this program?
Well, this is why we run Awesome One Holdings in South Africa, and we are happy to do our programs virtually also. I should also respond to that person that asked that question to say that we have over 100 bouquet of programs that we can tailor make for either an individual, an organization, a government division. And I'm not saying this just because I want to talk. I would not mention the name of the army on the continent that I am engaged to do work with. I do work with one of the armies on the African continent. I also do work with one of the armies in South America. So, and I'm saying this from the perspective of one who's worked with, C-suite executives, leaders, the military, corporation executives, business owners, and I'm humbled and grateful that some of our programs can actually cascade people into a master's level program. We're in a strategic working relationship with 5 universities in Europe, as a matter of fact. And so we're curious and keen to see how we can help Africans to transition from where they are to where they need to be, from a mental perspective. And I talked about mental hygiene earlier, because you see, a lot of times the emotions, because we don't clarify them, they then move from being constructive to being destructive. So recognizing the need to just notice the emotions, allow yourself to be aware of what is happening, how it's sitting within you, and then bring yourself into that place where you are, and if you cannot name it, ask for help, ask for support. There are some of us who are skilled in supporting people in this regard. And I'm grateful and privileged as an African to even be hired by the National Health Services out in the United Kingdom. It means we are doing some things right. So I challenge, individuals who are on this call. I challenge young people to also seek out knowledge. There's a whole lot of it available right now. As a matter of fact, some of us are even giving some of our time free of charge to, for the good of our continent. But not all of it is free, though, because from the premium, you need to ask for a premium.
You do have that free mindful program that you do once a month.
Yes. We call it Mind Your Mind Masterclass.
Mind Your Mind, yes.
In the last 2 years, executives from Google, Accenture, General Electric, and various global organizations have supported us by availing their time to support those who will learn on this, programs on how to better understand their minds. And the reason why we're doing that is because our organization has a non-profit called the African Institute of the Mind that is seeking to build a calm center that has a feel and tone of a hotel, but the functionality of a hospital.
We love it. We need it. It sounds really good. We need it. Thank you so much, Dr. Awesome. Thank you so much. So many nuggets, so many things that just very impactful. I like the last thing that you just said now that I picked up again is how the emotion is sitting in you. And that's also where breath work comes in, where you can just pause, take a deep breath, and just sort of track where there's tightness. Because if we don't handle that emotion, if we don't process it, then it becomes something else in the body physically. It starts to manifest physically. It can manifest as high blood pressure. It can throw your digestion off. Because if it gets you into that stressful space, then your body, cortisol and all that stress thing comes, then you cannot digest properly. Indeed.
75-90% of all the sicknesses and diseases that takes people to their doctors can be linked back to stress. And so it's important.
Exactly.
It's important that we look after ourselves. And one of the things I try to say to people is that you don't have to understand the emotion that is happening within you. You just need to recognize it. And in recognizing it, you're able to find an expression for it to let itself. What many people don't know is that the reason why I said we've transited from a pandemic to a syndemic is because mental health has now triggered a lot of other ailments and diseases. And many people are going for surgeries that is different from what they actually saw. We're going to have many people dying in their sleep because the stress levels are terrible. And many people are not aware and seeking help in this regard. I plead with as many people who are on this call, please reach out to Onyi, take the poll that we put out there, ask for help. Help is available. Someone I respect says help means hello, eternal loving provider.
I like that. Awesome. And I keep saying awesome, and then that's your name. It's like, okay.
Name and nature.
Exactly, name and nature. Thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. Awesome. That was really impactful. We'll definitely be sharing your contact details with in the newsletter so that everybody can connect, particularly with that Mind Your Mind session that you do. And thank you all so much. I mean, if you've been impacted by this, like, share, subscribe, and let your friends know, because at the end of the day, this is all free to all of us for us to take it on board and learn from it and grow from it. We have to engage that African narrative of our mental well-being, of our well-being, of just our life. We just need to take back our life and use our own voice. Something that you said earlier, that when a person releases their own positive emotion or energy, their own positive energy, they allow other people to release their own energy. It flows on and it triggers other people. And then we all just become a nation and a continent of positively charged people. That's where we need to get to. The drama of Africa is too much. The drama that I had this morning, there's no need. But anyways, thank you so much. Your session has helped. Folakunmi's session too has also helped. That other breathing also helped to just sort of stay focused and understand that there's light at the end of the tunnel. And we just keep reminded. We just need to keep thinking about what we are thinking about
That's
as we
right.
are thinking about it. Thank you so much, Dr. Awesome. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks to you. And thank you to everyone who chimed in.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. I hope you stayed connected with that, and I hope that it really impacted you, because it just spoke into why we do what we're doing and why we've been doing it for so long. So I'm so happy about that. So we're going to go straight into, we're way over time now, but it's been worth it. I know it has been. So we're going to go straight into a break. So walk around, go to the bathroom, be back in 1 minute so that we can jump into a cooking demonstration by Zoe Alakija. And then we'll go into another short film by curated by AMAA, Rootfix, and Inshort Film Festival. The films have been on point. Nollywood, you're watching. It has been on point. So anyways, back in a minute. Sorry, me and my mute mic. Welcome back. That looks really yum from Zoe Alakija. I liked the char that she got on the sweet corn. That looks really yum. And speaking of sweet corn, I mean, it's one of my favorite things to eat. And we have organic sweet corn from Sisimi, who was with us yesterday. She has an organic farm, and she's actually harvesting sweet corn today. But you can always check out their Flutterwave store. So you need to go to our Flutterwave store because there's so many different wellness and healthy food brands there. So if you hop on over to Flutterwave /NG /Eko Wellness, it will come on the screen right now. You can also link up with the store, with our Flutterwave Mall through our website. If you go to our website, there's a tab at the top that says store. So if you click on that store, on that tab, it will take you to our Flutterwave Mall. And then if you also scroll down all the way to the end of the website or to the bottom of the website, you see some stores that are listed there. So go ahead. Oh yeah, so there we go. Our Flutterwave link is right there. So there you go, shop healthy. And also share the link with your friends, people that you know that that want to live that healthy lifestyle, or just encourage them to all shop healthy, because that's really what we're also facilitating here. We're telling you to eat a certain way. Your food, from what we learned on Monday, your food, the quality of food that you eat does affect your emotions. It affects your mental well-being, because at the end of the day, food is fuel. And from what we heard from the session yesterday, by the farm to table session, the food that is in our conventional markets are a little suspect. So we need to be able to track the source of our foods as much as possible. So we need to also be holding the people that we're buying from accountable. So go to the shops on Eko Wellness and hold them to accountable. Ask them where they source their products from, and so that we can all grow from it. So we are doing a little giveaway as well. So if you shop up to 10,000 naira from any store on our Flutterwave mall, you shall get a nice gift from Eko Wellness. So please go ahead and shop up to 10,000 naira and get a nice gift delivered to you. I'm not going to tell you the gift. Shop first, and then you'll get the gift. Okay, so don't forget to like if you're following us on Facebook, on YouTube. Like, subscribe to our page, and also share. I'll send highlights out through the newsletter with links to the different sections or sessions. Please share with your friends so that they can watch and they can grow. We all need this. So the next thing that we have up is a short film from Africa Film Academy, well, curated by Africa Film Academy. Rootfix. Rootfix is a viewing platform very similar to Netflix, but the focus on films made by African Americans or by Africans, yeah. And and then we have Inshort Film Festival. Inshort Film Festival is a festival for short films, and the films that we're screening here are going to be screened again during the Inshort Film Festival later on in the year, and they're going to also be aired on Rootflix as well. So great viewing platform for our contestants, so to speak. So well done, guys. So our next film, I think it is called Unhinged, and we hopefully have the director with us backstage so that he can also share the thoughts that motivated the film being produced. So let's go into that short film now.
Good morning, baby.
Good morning.
Why are you looking at me like that now?
I am just in awe of your beauty.
Babe,
Joe, stop flattering me. You know this baby fat that I've gathered.
I'm serious, babe. You're still as beautiful to me. Even more.
Mm. Thank you, baby. Baby, let me go and get prepared.
Okay. Have you packed the new maternity gowns?
Yes.
What about the comfy bras I bought?
They are here.
Your toiletries, Uncle.
Papa. How about Steve? You want me to pack the whole house, Abby?
No, babe. I just want you to have everything you need.
I'm going to meet my mom, not some stranger. I'm sure everything I need is already there. Don't do this to me. See, once I deliver your baby, I'm only going to stay 2 extra months and I'll come back to you. Okay? Okay? Okay?
Okay, I know. Two years. It's been 2 years since I set my eyes on my wife. Doctor, why the handcuffs in my hand? What is happening? What did I do, doctor?
Calm down, Steve.
Doctor, what did I do? Why the handcuffs in my hand?
Steve, calm down. After they revived you, they brought you here.
Revived? For what?
From your last suicide attempt. It was the 4th attempt. So they brought you to us to help you.
Doctor. Why would I want to commit suicide? Why would I want to kill myself when I have a beautiful wife and kid? Why would you believe them?
Steve, you have not seen your wife in 2 years. She was unable to come back because of the lockdown in France since 2019.
And how did you know I have not seen my wife? No. Baby, no. Baby, come back. Come back, baby.
Calm down.
Doctor, remove this alcohol from my hand. Baby, please.
Calm down.
Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Doctor, please. Please. Baby, come back. Come back. Come back. Leave me. Leave me. Leave me alone. Ah!
Wow. Wow. Um, um, we're sorry we do not have the director of this film with us, but that story, the news, the helplines are going to come on now. If you know anyone that is that's contemplating suicide or just feeling a little unhinged, please use the helplines that we have. They'll be displayed shortly. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the director to join us today, but we'll try and have him on with us tomorrow to just sort of share a little bit on that story. I know. Well, we've had a long day. We've had an impactful day, and I'm grateful to have been part of this and to have also hosted you today. I also encourage you to join us tomorrow. Tomorrow is our last day, and so that's going to be a good vibe. Tomorrow, we're going to have Bumi Awolowo with us in the morning to talk about her film, which we'll start the day off with. And then we'll go into a food detox and a few other things. We're going to end tomorrow with a breathwork session that we had during our experience day with PJ. So we're going to end with that, but it's going to be a whole vibe tomorrow. The schedule is going to come up now, and I look forward to, you'll see the schedule and you see that, yep, you need to join us tomorrow. We also have Dr. Nena, who's going to be talking about herbs and using herbs for our mental well-being. That's also going to be an interesting one for us to watch tomorrow, to connect with tomorrow. So the schedule comes up now. It's been quite a long day, but a good day. That looks interesting, right? And like I said, we've added a few more things to the schedule. So aromatherapy will also be showing tomorrow, and aromatherapy, and then another short film. So we have 2 short films to screen tomorrow. So thank you all for joining me today. Day 6, yay! Day 7 rounding, coming up very closely. Don't forget to go to our Flutterwave store. So please visit our Flutterwave store, and the link is here on the tab. Also go to our website, and you will see the tab that says store. That also links you to our Flutterwave store. Our website is www.ekowellness.net. Also click on register if you haven't registered. Register so that you can get our newsletter with updates from all the different giveaways that the participating vendors have. Remember, I said that we're also doing a giveaway. So if you shop up to 10,000 from any of the vendors listed participating, you'll get a gift. You will get a nice gift, and you have to shop first to know what the gift is. So this is me, Oyin Talabi, signing out from you, Lagos to the world. Thank you all for joining us. And it's a wrap.